All right, John, set the scene. Where are you and what are you doing right now?
Jim, good to talk to you. I am at Target Center. It's Thursday, I think. Yeah, it's Thursday. I'm here for the Class A boys basketball state quarterfinals. Our friend Dave Wright on the PA is introducing both teams right now. The first game is Cherry versus Bold. And I am basically behind one of the baskets across the corridor. There's kind of a fancy room back here called the Backcourt Club, which I'm sure for Timberwolves games is not easy to get into. The beautiful people come back here.
They will not let me in there.
I've never been in here. Right. And this is what we use as our media room when we have games here. It's very nice. It's quiet. It's kind of secluded. And we actually have snacks for the media, some popcorn, some bags of chips. I think we might have some bottles of water. So we are really treating the media well.
Well, this is proof of how well advertising works and why people should advertise at talknorth.com, because you said popcorn and I immediately wanted to go make popcorn.
It works.
It works. Hey, he's John Millea of the MSHSL. I'm Jim Suhan from the Star Tribune and talknorth.com. This is talknorth.com, and this is Preps Today with John Millea, our great prep advocate, writer, and podcaster. You can find his written work at John's Journal at mshsl.org. And of course, you can find his podcasts here. Any show you like at talknorth.com, including this one, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We want to thank our longtime sponsor and friend, Jody Stay and Pizza Barn in Princeton. All right, let's start. Biggest first question. Any new tattoos this week?
I have not acquired any more tattoos.
But the week isn't over.
It's only Thursday.
Yeah.
You never know what will strike an old man's fancy here. We'll see. That's a good question.
So let's start off the actual part of the show with girls basketball highlights and controversy.
Yeah, we had some controversy, and not at the tournament, but in the wake of. I'll get to that. But the girls basketball season, we wrapped that up last weekend at Williams Arena with the crowning of 4 state champions. West Central area in 1A, Providence Academy in 2A. Benilde St. Margaret's in 3A, and Hopkins in 4A. To me, there were a couple of stories that stood out from the girls' tournament. Shockingly, they're both in Class A. I'm a Class A guy. I grew up in a tiny town. That's why I'm at Target Center today. Over at Williams Arena here on Thursday, we've got the boys 3A and 4A semifinals, but I'm hanging with my small town people here. One of these stories was West Central area. They won the Class A girls basketball title. That's that school's first team title in any sport, which is pretty amazing. And they earned it, baby. They beat the top seed and defending state champ Goodhue in the semifinals. The championship matchup was kind of cool. West Central was seeded 4th. They played 7th seeded McRae, which got all the way to the championship game. West Central's Becca Holland. She's the head coach. She's only 27 years old. This was her 3rd year as a head coach, and they're state champs. Pretty remarkable. And then McRae, just the 7th seed getting all the way to the championship game is pretty cool. I wrote about McRae coach Sean Condon. He's a McRae grad, played basketball at Southwest State and Marshall. His family has really deep roots in that area, and exactly 1 week before the state championship game, Sean and his family were attending the funeral for his grandfather, Tom Condon, who was 82. I found Tom's obituary. Talk about a remarkable life. This guy had such a huge impact in Clara City and the surrounding area. He was a farmer, a businessman. He was a job creator. My buddy Paul Ramo, who's a radio pros pro from that part of Minnesota, told me about Tom's death and Sean before the tournament. I was able to have a nice, quiet chat with Sean after the championship game. This was neat. Nobody knew this till Sean told me. His grandpa was a proud Irishman who owned a large collection of Irish-themed apparel. And at all 3 games at state, Sean was wearing like a McRae, quarter zip like basketball coaches wear. But every day underneath that, he had one of his grandpa's Irish shirts, which was pretty sweet. Now let's go to the controversy. Nothing at the tournament. It was fine. But in the wake of things and with social media, people get angry and they're not afraid to express that. When private schools win state titles, this causes consternation with some people. So we had Providence Academy in 2A. They became the first girls basketball team to win 4 in a row. And in 3A, Benilde, St. Margaret's won for the 3rd year. So this gets people cranked up. What's fair? How is that even fair? Private schools, they can recruit. Public schools can't. People don't. We'll never get everybody to understand this. But the rules on transfers, they're the same for every school. Private schools don't have any advantages. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that, but and then an argument we always hear, people argue that private schools should all be in the same class. We should have a private school class. That's never going to happen. Yes, we hear about the Providence Academies, the Benildes, but there's a whole bunch of private schools that most people have never heard of, that just never get to state in anything, and lumping all private schools together, that's a dumb idea. Now, one option in cases like this that is used in some states, it's called different things, but the phrase I hear the most is a success ratio formula. Wisconsin does this in most sports. The easiest way to explain it is if a team does very well for a number of years in a row, reaches certain levels of success, then at some point they are moved up a class for X number of years. And that wouldn't impact teams in the biggest class. But in the case of Providence in 2A, Benilde in 3A, a formula like that might have them moving up to the next higher class. Minnesota doesn't do that. I want to make that clear. This is not happening. It's not on the radar right now. That's not to say it couldn't happen. Things like this take a long time to get there. There have been very, very minor discussions over many years at the high school league about whether this would be the way to go. There's no push for it right now. And if that kind of thing were discussed, the decision would be made by all the member schools. And again, at this point, that's not being discussed, but I want to just explain to people who are still in an uproar about private schools winning state championships. This is how it's set up. They don't have an advantage. You can believe that or not. But that does not dampen a great girls basketball game or tournament that we had. It was so much fun. Williams Arena, most people, I think, like it. Some people don't like it at all. I like it for the high school games, and that's where we'll finish the boys' tournament this week, too.
I think it's great for high school basketball. I think, and listen, it is old. It is beat up. I think it works. I think it works perfectly for high school sports, and I think it works pretty well for the Gophers. Maybe if either the Gopher men or women started not only selling out, but turning away a lot of fans, then you could argue that they should go to something bigger or newer. But right now, I think it actually works for all the levels that use it.
I like it a lot. I had a discussion with one of the ushers who worked there, one of these older guys who's worked there forever. And he was asking me what I thought. Does the barn need to be replaced? And I said, no, that argument is dead now. If you want to have a good basketball team, it's money. It's NIL. The argument is, young kids don't want to play in that 100-year-old arena. They don't care. Give them, if they can come up with the money. You're buying players now in D1 basketball and football. The building has little to do with it at this point. It's NIL money, and I don't know, in a town like this with so much corporate money and big hitters, I don't know why that can't be done. I don't understand the workings of that anyway, but I don't think the barn needs to be replaced. That's for sure. I
agree with you. As usual, I agree with you. All right, let's get to the final. Anything more on girls basketball? Or should we move on to the final winter tournament?
Yeah, we're wrapping up the winter tournaments. It's about 7 weeks. A whole bunch of tournaments. It's tiring for an old guy, but it sure is exciting. And like we've been talking, this is boys basketball week with state championships. All 4 will be decided Saturday at Williams Arena. It's a strange schedule this week. The Timberwolves had a home game last night, so we would have been in here on Wednesday to start the tournament. The tournament started Tuesday. We had games in here on Tuesday. That's a day earlier than normal. And then after today, the 1A is at Target Center. Everything will be at Williams Arena. All the semifinals, championship games. And like we said, that's a fine place for high school basketball.
It is, no doubt about it. All right. We're going to get to 15 years of fun. We're going to thank a ref. We're the most valuable teammate. But right now, let's thank Jody Stay and Pizza Barn in Princeton.
Yep, March Madness is here. That means the pizza of the month for March is here. It's the classic Reuben pizza. The Pizza Barn starts with its famous homemade crust. They throw on a base of Thousand Island dressing, chopped corned beef that's cooked in the Pizza Barn ovens. Then they add sauerkraut. They finish it with a mix of Swiss and mozzarella, some black pepper. It's absolutely fantastic. You can get the pizza of the month and everything at the Pizza Barn for dine-in, carry-out, take-and-bake, or delivery. And don't forget about the Pizza Barn's famous lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 1:30. Here during Lent, they'll have beer-battered cods and seasoned waffle fries on Fridays at the buffet. Thanks again to our friend Jody Stay and her great crew at the Pizza Barn for more than 41 years of service. They'll take great care of you, and you'll have a great meal.
Thanks again to Jody. Thanks also to Aquarius Home Services. All right. We ready for 15 years of fun, or is there something else?
15 years of fun. Okay, last Saturday, I was sitting at Williams Arena for the boys basketball championship game, sitting next to a fellow named Patrick Royce, who was writing a Marshall-related column, which was great.
And the great thing about sitting next to Patrick is you don't have to read the column the next day. He will read the whole thing to you as he writes it.
Talk about spoken word artistry.
Yes.
That's exactly right. But I leaned over to Pat and I said, "You know what today is, Pat?" And we both knew it was Sid Hartman's 105th birthday. And I said, "It's also my 15th anniversary with the Minnesota State High School."
Wow.
So I'm at 15 years and almost another week. And all I can say about that, Jim, is, man, time really flies. And I've had more fun in this job than I could have ever imagined. I didn't imagine what this would be when I started because nobody was doing this kind of work. I kind of have to figure it out. I'm still figuring it out. I got a few more months to go before I retire in August. I'm looking forward to a little bit of downtime after the boys basketball tournament this week. Then it'll be dive into spring sports. And as I get older, this winter tournament run gets a little more tiring. I'm coming off a head cold that always happens this time of year. That's okay. The spring season is just so calm and really enjoyable. It's, as long as the weather's good, there's baseball and softball and track meets and just all kinds of great stuff. And right now the weather seems fine. I don't know that anybody's buried in snow. Too bad. Southern Minnesota just got a whole bunch, but I'll wrap it up. The final high school event for me will be the baseball state championship games at Target Field in mid-June. Like I said, my retirement won't be effective until August. Every summer I go back through the John's Journal stories and pick a top 10. I'll do that. That gets me well into July. And then as I wrap up this job, I'm going to go back through basically everything I've written and try to come up with my 10 favorite all-time stories, maybe ranked, maybe not. And that's going to take a lot of time. And I'm in no hurry to go out the door, but I want to be done in August. And I think everything looks good at this point.
Good. Well, congratulations on that. On my personal note, I just recently, I don't even know what the exact date is, but I recently passed 35 years at the Star Tribune. So we don't, I don't know how many compliments we deserve, but but we've hung in there.
Yes. And this is not a 9-to-5 job.
No,
a lot of people don't realize these are not 9-to-5 jobs. Your schedule is different every day, depending on the season and how it's going. And it can be challenging, but you know what? I tell people all the time, I've got a brother who's a surgeon. I've got a brother who's a corporate lawyer. They like their paychecks, but they do not like their jobs as much as I do.
Right. We traded in banker's hours and maybe a lot more money for doing something interesting, working odd hours, but never feeling bored. We basically we dedicated ourselves. We chose a profession that would, when we went home at night, we might be able to say, saw something interesting today.
Absolutely. That's a good way to sum it up because there's always new things.
No doubt about it. And you encounter some, no subset of human beings is perfect, but we encounter a lot of really cool humans in what we do.
Oh, we absolutely do. You bet.
Well, congratulations, John. Let us now thank a ref.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. You talked about seeing things you never saw before. I saw something at the boys' state basketball tournament. This is a first. So we all know at sporting events, fans like to bring homemade signs. they almost always, express support for the home team. But I saw a sign in the Goodhue crowd last Friday at Williams Arena for Goodhue girls basketball. I've never seen it before. A Goodhue senior. I did some sleuthing. This young man, a senior at Goodhue, named Caleb Lodemeyer, he wore a striped referee shirt in the stands. The sign he held up had in large letters, "Go," all caps, "Go Refs." And it turns out he's like a youth sports official in Goodhue. He referees little kid stuff. He's going to be an official, I'm sure of that. And then as I look closer at the sign, he had the names of several officials who are well known in Goodhue and southeast Minnesota. A couple of really high level multi-sport officials, MJ Wagonson. The sign just had MJ. And Marshall Barons, a guy in Rochester who everybody knows. I declared it the best sign in sports history. Go Refs. And it was amazing. I posted it and got a huge response. Talked to Josh Weemy, the Goodhue girls coach, afterwards to get this young man's name. It was awesome. And speaking of officials, one of those folks had a busy couple of weeks at state basketball. A friend of mine named Kyle Lampa from up on the Iron Range. He's an assistant girls basketball coach at Rock Ridge, which played at state last week. And here at Target Center on Tuesday, he officiated a boys' state tournament game between Waseca and Pequot Lakes. That's commitment. He's a full-time coach. He's a full-time official, and those aren't even his full-time jobs. So, Kyle Lampa, let's thank a ref.
All right, let's thank a ref. Second best sign in sports history, John.
There you go.
The best sign in sports history is the Twins playing in the 1987 World Series on the national stage, people tuning in from all over the country, and somebody had a large sign that said, "We like it here."
I thought maybe you're going to go with that big sign in the upper deck. Herbeck, buy a vowel.
Okay. I think we might have to go through our top 100 sports signs at some point. That's a pretty good one, discussion.
Too. Yeah.
All right. We just thanked a ref. Now let's get to another valuable set piece, most valuable teammate.
Yeah, our most valuable teammate this week is Cameron Kosak of Sleepy Eye St. Mary's. Cameron's a senior who plays football, basketball, and baseball. He suffered a knee injury late in the football season. That ended his football and basketball seasons. We'll see how baseball goes here this spring, but he continued to show his character, showed up to basketball practice every day to support his team. The maturity Cameron has shown throughout something very difficult has not gone unnoticed by his coaches, teammates, and school community. Congrats to Cameron Kosak of Sleepy Eye St. Mary's on being named a most valuable teammate.
Excellent. I know you said you might take a little time off. What is next on your calendar? What's the next big thing that's going to happen?
Well, it's very exciting. We got some meetings coming up. Very exciting. I'm going to take the Camry in for service at Maplewood Toyota next week. My wife and I have a day planned to do some stuff. The 28th, I'll be at the Minnesota Football Coaches Association convention. Looking forward to that. And in the middle of April, we're gonna go to the San Francisco area, spend a week with our grandkids, and that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We can't wait to get out there and spend a week with a kindergartner and a 3-year-old and just get worn out completely.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that. I hope you have a great time out there. Thanks to everyone who listens to TalkNorth.com. By the way, we are doing a special show, Talk North Sports Report. Mark Rosen is joining TalkNorth.com. It'll be Mark Rosen, Michael Russo, John Krasinski, Lavelle Neal, myself at Parlay Kitchen and Bar, downtown Minneapolis, 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 26th. We will give away a bunch of tickets. We'll have a lot of fun. It's great food. It's a great bar. It's basically they've renovated the area below the Union rooftop building. It's going to be fantastic. Come on out. You might win something. You'll have a good time either way. For today, thanks to John Millea. Thanks to the Talk North staff. I'm Jim Suhan, and we'll talk to you next week.